Welcome to the Dr. Diane Show, where we explore revolutionary expansion of mind, body, and soul with me, Dr. Diane Hayden. With over 20 years of expertise as a mindset warrior, perspective shifter, and unshakable optimist, I am dedicated to helping you reach your wildest dreams in business, health, performance, and relationships. Learn about the power of thought and how it shapes your life to take risks, change careers, find love, go on adventures, and live passionately with me, Dr. Diane. Get ready for revolutionary ways of thinking, being, and creating an amazing life. The Dr. Diane Show starts now. I'm Dr. Diane Hayden, and you are listening to the Dr. Diane Show on Transformation Talk Radio. Stay with us for the next hour, where we will explore revolutionary expansion of mind, body, and soul. Join me on the first and third Thursdays on the Dr. Diane Show, where I have experts from around the country teaching you cutting-edge therapies on longevity medicine, natural health, mindset, and soul purpose to help you shift your perspective and become a mindset warrior like me. And please like and subscribe to my channel, Dr. Diane Hayden. I'm excited today to have Christine Bilotti-Peterson on with me. She is a holistic high-performance coach, wellness expert, and founder of Longview Vitality. With over 30 years of coaching experience, she specializes in helping individuals achieve sustainable weight loss and transform their relationship with food and self-care. Christine's approach starts with body positivity, confidence, and self-love, with the philosophy, getting to your ideal weight starts in the mind. In her Wellness Reset, Christine starts with mindset coaching, rapid transformational therapy, and personalized wellness protocols, a natural GLP-1 supplement for cellular activation, and a personalized self-care protocol of diet, rest, exercise, stress relief, and supplementation. As a certified professional coach, RTT practitioner, and yoga instructor, Christine is passionate about aligning physical health with mental and emotional well-being to help clients achieve their ideal weight and thrive in all areas of life. So welcome, Christine. How are you today?
I'm great, Diane. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. So I usually like to start my shows with, finding out a little bit about you, your practice, and kind of what led you down this path. I think people are always interested in how people got involved in, all the different modalities and things that we do. And you certainly have a wide range of tools there for you. We're going to talk about all of those as we go through the show today. But kind of what led you to becoming a high performance coach?
Well, just to tell you a little bit about myself, I'm based here in Connecticut, and I'm a mom of 4 teenagers, married 25 years this year. And my whole family says my favorite person is my dog. I have a big furry golden doodle. Um, So we started as a family where I was in corporate. So I have 25 years of executive coaching, leadership development, and human resource experience. I started my career at a place called Korn Ferry that does leadership development and C-level placement. So for the first 25 years, I was very focused on goals, helping leaders be successful, and really helping them with talent management. And then in 2018, I really had hit all of the professional goals I set out to, and I found myself in this place of wanting to do more. And that's when I went really deep into the world of professional development and wellness. And that led me to broaden my practice from pure leadership development. So I've been coaching full time now for 7 years. And the first several years, it was pure leadership development and executive coaching. And then in 2018, I added more modalities and different things to my coaching program because I found that when I was working with people, they needed so much more. Just talking about work is so one-dimensional. And through my own professional development, yes, I learned so many different things that I thought could really help executives and leaders and individuals succeed in a different way.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's interesting. I'm sure that we tend to kind of get really into this like one-dimensional thinking of, okay, this is my career, and I'm like, 100% defined by what my career is, and I have all
Right.
these goals, and yeah. And I think, you get to an age where you're like, that's not all there is. Like you asked yourself, like, what else is there? If like I've accomplished all these goals, I think a lot of women, especially, find themselves in that place. Like there has to be more than
Right, right.
this, like, right,
And
than just,
I call it my 168-hour epiphany. And there's a coaching tool that in 2018, my coach was using with me. And I'll tell you a little about it because it's interesting. Basically, we all have 168 hours of our week, right? And we can dedicate that time to whatever we believe is the highest priority. And so my coach had me kind of write out currently how I was using my 168 hours of the week. And then what would that ultimate life look like? If I was designing a life where my priorities really had my time first. And it was a real epiphany for me. And that's, one of the things like I thought, some people would say that in 2018, when I pivoted from corporate to being an entrepreneur, that I was having a midlife crisis, right? And I would
mhm.
say, no, I'm having a midlife awakening. Like I am learning so much more about myself. I really started doing the inner work. And the inner work is all about like, who are you as a person? What is your purpose? What are your strengths? And why are you here, really, at the end of the day?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And that's when we start thinking about like, though, there has to be something more out there, like, because I think we go through all these different roles in our life, right? And so there's so many things that can fulfill you, right? Not just your career, but your family, your, things that you do for your community, um, philanthropic things. There's so many different buckets, basically,
Right.
of how you can, lead a more fulfilled life. And I think it's really amazing when people find something that they are so passionate about doing for work that it's not like work.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I mean, it doesn't happen for everybody, but it's interesting. I mean, in my world, I kind of feel like it does because I work with so many holistic practitioners. They're all doing what their passion is, right? They, for whatever reason, went down this path to become something because they had a chronic health issue, so they decided to do something with naturopathic medicine or whatever, or maybe they had a spiritual crisis and so they went down a
Mm-hmm.
path of maybe being a spiritual practitioner. And so it's really been awesome to work with people like that who are really for fulfilling their passion and having it make revenue for them.
Right, right. Well, and usually I meet people, people tend to find me during these inflection points. It might be a health inflection point or a new goal they have, or they really made up their mind. Yes, I am going to do this year. I've been saying this year after year, but I'm going to do it this year. Same thing with work. Sometimes people need a career transition or a pivot. Sometimes they just need to um, get on the front foot in their life, and they feel like they're running on this gerbil wheel of burnout and toxic hustle. And I'm here to tell them, like, you can do this so differently,
Mm.
right? And so I try to make things easier for people that really feel like they can't even come up for air, or they're not sure, or they're unfulfilled. Something might they might need a little bit of help to get through that.
And that's why it's so important to work with somebody like you, because I think so people, it's a scary thing. People are afraid of change, really, like any kind of change. But when you're talking about you've done something with a particular career for like you, let's say, 25 years or more, to take that leap is scary, I think.
I think that's true. And it's so interesting because there's all these new ways of working coming up, and people, like, for example, the way people work is different. And so, retirement, it used to be, I'm going to work as hard as I can, as long as I can. And then the day I retire, I'm not going to work anymore, right?
Hmm.
That's sort of like how my dad did it.
Yep.
At the 40th year, he retired and he never worked again. And then he had some fun. And I think things are changing where people are realizing I don't have to wait till I'm retired, right? There's this whole world of designing the lifestyle And, um, I just listened to the book Die with Zero, and they talk about really being intentional with your money too, your finances. And that's like with your health. Sometimes people wait till they retire, then they can't get off the riverboat because they're not healthy enough to walk around Italy. So it's like, a way of designing a life and incorporating a very successful professional career in that. But it can be more than that. So people feel more fulfilled earlier.
Yeah, it's so important what you just said about people who wait till retirement to do all these kinds of things like travel and then they're not healthy enough. I mean, I can't tell you how many stories, I've heard like that. And it's so sad. It's like, oh my God, this person worked their whole life, saved all this money, and now they either have some disease or they just didn't take care of themselves well enough because they were so busy working that now they have
Exactly.
all these issues and, you know, or just aren't going to be able to do a lot of the things that they saved all this money to be able to do. It's like, oh my gosh, there's got to be a better way. And part of that, I
Exactly.
think, is what you talk about. You mentioned the importance of mental and physical health in achieving high performance. And that, I think, when we think about high performance, unless we're talking about athletes, everybody always thinks it's like a mental thing, right? But there's such a big physical component.
There is. And, you know, a lot of people do work so hard. And, what do we hear all the time? I don't have time for
Mhm.
that. I wish I had time to work out, or I wish I had time to meal prep, or I wish I had time to go to yoga this week or whatever. And so, one of the things that I truly believe in, and I've seen it for 30 years now with high performers, once they have a foundation of strong mental and physical health, immediately their performance is catapulted to a whole nother level. And, when I talk about self-care and elite self-care protocol, it is what you were mentioning earlier: diet, rest, exercise, stress relief, and supplementation. And on the stress relief side, I mean, that is something that I really feel like I'm an expert in now, really helping people figure out, how do I relax?
Yeah, that's a big one. And that it's so funny because it's like people don't know how to relax. I mean, we're so on the go, 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 go that when we have downtime, like literally you go on vacation for a week, it takes you a week just to get to a place where you're just starting to relax and then it's time to go home
Right,
again. Yeah, it's
right.
so crazy. So we're going to talk about a lot of that stuff, a lot of stuff, a lot of your tools, all this good stuff. You're listening to the Dr. Diane Show with me, Dr. Diane Hayden. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll explore more with Christine Bilotti-Peterson, holistic high performance coach, wellness expert, and founder of Longview Vitality. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're back on the Dr. Diane Show with me, Dr. Diane Hayden. And before we continue, I want to make sure everyone knows how to reach out to me. You can find me at my channels, Dr. Diane Hayden, or either of my two websites, drdianehayden.com or my publication, www.naturalnutmeg.com. And you can learn more about Christine Bilotti-Peterson at her website, which is www.longviewvitality.com. That is spelled LONGVIEWVITALITY.com. So before this last break, we were talking about how people just really don't know how to relax or can't relax. And it's like we're so stressed out. It's like I feel like sometimes for myself that when I'm in a state of high stress for my work or whatever it might be, I get to this point where I almost don't even realize I'm stressed. Like I think it's normal functioning, right?
Mhm, mhm.
And I'll even say to people, I'm not stressed. They'll be like, really? You're like running around like a maniac.
Yes, and I mean, it's catching. I will tell you, having lots of clients and being in the corporate world for 25 years, um, is a kind of stress. And I always talk to people about, how many hours are you working? How many weekends are you working? Do you have to work weekends, or do you want to work weekends, or do you think you should work weekends? And there is just, a different culture in a lot of different companies, but in I would say America for sure. It's this hustle and grind, and it's kind of a badge of honor the more work you do in some cases. And I would say I want to like flip that mentality because my thoughts are if you are working every weekend, something might be wrong. You might not have the right resources. You might be not be using your time wisely. You might not have a team you can count on. You might not be delegating. So, and then of course, there's the entrepreneurial world where you're the CEO, the CMO, the CIO, the CFO. So working a lot, and usually this is something someone's passionate about. It's really easy to work, but also important not to get burnt out.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned entrepreneurs because I think we're the most guilty of like just not taking that downtime and not, not rejuvenating because we're so focused on building this thing that we're so passionate about, right? And it's like, and also like you said, we may be the only person, like, we're everything.
Right.
We gotta practice, whatever our modality is, then we have to run the business, we have to do our marketing, we have to do administration. It's like it's you gotta do all of it, right? And you can, really run yourself crazy, I think, trying to keep up with all of that. And you have to me, it's like you have to go back to, okay, why did I start this in the first place? I started a business because I didn't want to have to go somewhere for 9 to 5. I wanted to be able to organize my day the way I wanted it to, or I wanted to be able to take off on a Wednesday if I wanted to. But then I find myself guilty if I do it, which is so crazy, right? I'm like, in the summertime, I'm like, I want to go, wakeboarding today. We're gonna take off a Wednesday, and
Mhm.
then I'm out there, and I'm like, I really have this. I have 15 emails I have to answer. I should be doing this. I
Right,
should be doing
right.
that. I'm
It's
like,
really hard to compartmentalize. One of the things that I work on with clients is emotional intelligence and emotional regulation. And this idea of emotional regulation, where you have really high levels of objectivity and the ability to be mindful and the ability to really plan things out and have the ability to compartmentalize when needed and have that ability to take a breath, take a pause, assess. So really, I think self-care, which we go back to what we were talking about earlier, the foundation of mental and physical health for high performance. When you take care of yourself, you can turn the dial up and down when you want to. Because let's face it, most of the people I work with are high achieving. They're kind of wired to work more so than relax, right?
mm-hmm.
Just naturally. So it's more about injecting that, creating that customized elite self protocol plan for this person very specifically, which again includes how are you going to use your 168 hours of the week? Do you like incorporating and time blocking self-care throughout that week? So it's really a priority. And that's why a morning routine is always known to be so helpful because it's that consistency and you can do it early and get what you need so you can really show up as the A player for the rest of the day. So things like that. And then, that idea of how do you relieve stress? People that know how to relieve stress really outperform the others, are more fulfilled, have more emotional regulation. And of course, you probably heard the quote, the person with the highest emotional regulation in the room wins, right?
I
So
haven't heard that actually.
okay. So that's why, EQ and building emotional intelligence regulation is such like it's one of the top three executive development components right now, or personal development components in 2025.
Yeah, that is really interesting. I think that I love what you said about having a morning routine. I like blocking, having to block your self care time throughout the week. That's so important. I actually do that for when I'm going to go to the gym. Like I just block those days out. I think a lot of people, when they think about stress reduction, it's, oh, I'm going to have a glass of wine on a Friday night. Like, like to take the edge off or whatever.
Mhm.
Whereas okay, maybe that might be a tool, but that's not what you would recommend for people. I think it's basically like, getting massages or even doing something like yoga. Or to me, exercise is stress relief. I know for a lot of people, exercise is stressful, but to me, doing like being in the gym, it's methodical, like I'm focused on what I'm doing. That is actually a stress reliever for me. Going out in nature, taking a walk, all that kind of stuff.
Yes, I mean, that's why everyone's protocol is so different. I would say that people that really get dialed in to their self-care protocol, to their particular diet, rest, exercise, stress relief, and supplementation, and we experiment, we craft, their prescription of what this is going to look like, and I hold people accountable to um, making this happen. And once they start feeling what it feels like when you really take care of yourself and you have that self-management to do that for 3 or 4 weeks, you can start feeling an immediate shift. So yeah, and the mindset is really a big component of this whole package.
So we mentioned earlier something called rapid transformational therapy. So
Mhm.
explain to us a little bit about what is that and how does that fit into your coaching programs?
Yes, and that is exactly a major tool I use to help people reprogram their mindset. So I'll start with weight loss because that's a very relatable topic. I believe that weight loss starts in the mind. I found rapid transformation therapy when I was 48 years old and realized that I had been carrying around a 35-year disordered eating pattern. And I was doing a lot of personal development, and I was like, I need professional help to change this way of thinking. And so I had 3 RTT sessions, and my mind had totally shifted on this topic that I had been carrying around for 35 years. And really, I had started dieting when I was 11 years old. And I was in this, horrible cycle of um, deprivation, binging, a lot of food anxiety. It really was an issue. And I just thought I had to work harder. I just had to drive those workouts harder and harder. And yeah, it was a cycle of burnout. And that's where I learned a lot of these techniques and incorporated them. And it has been really phenomenal.
Wow. So what is the experience like? Can you explain anything about, I mean, obviously different for everybody, but just
Yes, it's
what would
really
it look
very
like?
scientific. Okay, so basically, there are 5 brain waves: gamma, beta, alpha, theta, and delta. And in an RTT session, the first thing I'm teaching you is how to self-hypnotize and get to theta zone. A lot of people, when I first meet them, say they don't know how to meditate. So this is a way of helping someone self-hypnotize, help them meditate. And we do go back in time and talk about, different things that may be stuck in their subconscious. And it relates to things that happen in childhood. There could be a lot of trauma. There could be some mini traumas, bullying, um, having different embarrassing moments as a child. A lot of these, what they call mini T traumas, kind of stick in our subconscious, and you have to go into theta state to be able to connect with those memories, like my emotional eating. And I do believe that most people have some sort of childhood trauma that they're carrying around, whether they know it or not, right?
Hmm.
So this
Yep.
whole idea of being worthy, we could go really deep down this
Yeah.
hole. But I will tell you that it's really about shifting the mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. And that's interesting. Like I know people who say, oh, I can't, I've tried hypnosis, it doesn't work for me. And it's, it's interesting because I feel like, Well, how do you know it didn't work for you? Like what were you expecting that was going to happen? Let
Yeah, it's interesting. The 90-minute session that is an RTT, what I do immediately is help your nervous system relax. From there, we go back to a couple memories based upon the topic. Like if we're talking about weight loss, or we're talking about emotional eating, or we're talking about self-confidence, or someone having a fear of something, we go back in time and we find the root cause of when this started. It's usually a protection mechanism for something that was traumatic for a little child. So it's a really phenomenal and powerful technique for healing.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And yeah, I totally agree with you. I think everything related to weight loss starts in the mind. Your perspective about it, your beliefs, your
So for an
thoughts.
executive or an entrepreneur, it might be self-confidence. It
Mhm.
might be putting themselves out there. It might be a scarcity mindset that you want to shift. You want to like lose that fear. A lot of fear of money, a lot of fear of failure, a lot of self-confidence issues is about criticism, judgment. As a recovering perfectionist, I will
Yep.
tell you that a lot of this is mental. It's in the subconscious. So when we work on that, it's really a powerful technique.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. I'm excited to learn more. You're listening to the Dr. Diane Show with me, Dr. Diane Hayden. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be talking more with Christine Bilotti-Peterson. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're back on the Dr. Diane Show with me, Dr. Diane Hayden, and I am talking today with Christine Bilotti-Peterson. She is a high performance coach, and you can learn more about her at www.longviewvitality.com. That's spelled LONGVIEWVITALITY.com. So, before we were at the break, we were just talking, more about just how much mindset and the way you think and your beliefs and all that plays a role in, pretty much everything, let alone weight loss or, what you do in terms of your career, how successful you are, that kind of thing. But I wanted to kind of just back up a little bit and ask you, like, who is your ideal client? It sounds like this could help everybody, right?
Mhm.
But do you have like an ideal client that you think is more drawn to you or that you enjoy working with?
Yes. So my portfolio right now is about 50% corporate executives. They might want help with their career or leadership results, or um, they might want a coach, but they don't know why. Right?
Hmm.
They just know that they want to continue to be successful, they want to be elite, they want to be at the top of their game. And having someone to talk to is, they say it gets lonely at the top. And I do think that's true. And I offer something a little bit different because it's so holistic. We're talking about their mindset. We're talking about confidence. We're talking about how are they going to get up in front of the entire organization and talk about the vision of the future, right? This is about really captivating hearts. And the way to be successful, and I always talk about my purpose. My purpose is really impacting leaders, entrepreneurs, and individuals so they can make a broader impact in the world. It's like that catalyst ripple effect. And so, when you think about coaching, what coaching really is helping you get super self-aware of what you need to do to be successful in a variety of places. And so, like, I kick off every assignment, whether it's an entrepreneur or an executive or just somebody that wants to talk because they know that they want to shift their wellness. We start off with a personality assessment. It's called the Hogan assessment. And it basically, I give you a username and passcode, and you go online and take 200 questions about yourself,
Wow.
and it shares a data report with me that I present to you in our first meeting. And essentially, you're the one that answered the question. So you probably know a lot of what I'm going to tell you. But sometimes people haven't talked out loud about this before, in a deep way with someone that is highly trained and has done this thousands of times with people. So this is a great way to do a current state assessment. So even if somebody comes to me for help to be more successful in their business, we're going to do this and do a current state assessment about, okay, here's the business goal, right? That's why you initially came. But let's look at these other areas because we want to make sure that I can basically what I'm looking at are all the levers of how can we increase your performance? Where are all the dials that we can work on here and make this adjustment? And then it's putting together those goals, the action plan, and how do you bring that to life? And that's why it's really a combination of career success, attached to your purpose and being really aligned with that. Second is really about your emotional intelligence, your awareness of yourself. Who are you as an authentic individual? And again, what do you want to do here? What's your legacy going to be? Why are you here? And just being really intentional about your life, your career, your time, your health. And that really does begin to change the game for people. And of course, I'm there to give them also 30 years of high performance tricks. We talk about situations and the goal is helping someone get on the front foot. That might be the front foot of their health or their career or their personal life, in relationships or just being happy. A lot of times most people come to me with a lot of professional goals. And one of the most important questions I ask people is, are you happy? And
Yeah.
it's
Like, why do you
amazing
have these
how
goals? Sometimes,
nobody comes to like get happy, but
right.
really, if you're not happy, then something needs an adjustment, right? Let's figure out what that is. It might be your mental health. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, a lot of times I think people have goals that aren't even their goals. Like it's some goal that like a parent had for them, or even a spouse, maybe, or whatever, like, or
Exactly.
society, whatever it is. You have these ideas in your head of where you think you need to be or go or whatever. And then when you really talk through, I mean, I've worked with coaches for years now, and I just see so much value in it because this is when this stuff comes up. Because when you really talk through it with someone else who's objective and does what you do, that can come out that like I'm not even excited about this goal. Why am I doing it?
Right. And,
Yeah.
again, we were talking about people work longer now because they can really design a portfolio lifestyle where they might be living in a couple of different locations. They might not be working 80 hours a week. They might be wanting to create this portfolio lifestyle of, I do a little bit of work over here. I have this passion project. I might be investing or advising over here. So there are people that are really building non-traditional ways of living. And it's really fun to work with clients that are in that frame of mind, but sometimes they need a little help to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I know so many holistic practitioners that you would be amazing for, because one of the big things I see with them is they're so passionate about what they do that it becomes almost overwhelming. Like it becomes almost everything that they do is just revolving around their practice, and having to, like we said earlier, do pretty much everything, not only practice whatever your modality is, but also do all of the business side of it. There's a lot of them that get to a point where they're just so burned out, and it's so sad because they have this great gift, and they
Right.
either have worked themselves to death to
Yes.
because they haven't figured out a way to make it more balanced, let's say, or they're people that never really get it off the ground because they don't have a good foundation, and
Yes,
so
or
it
they
kind
haven't been taught the business part.
right.
Right. And I love to help, especially like a healer or somebody that's really empathetically like therapists and all of these holistic practitioners that have so much to give. And usually, and this is why the Hogan is so helpful for me because it tells me exactly how I can help someone get to a different goal. So again, these individuals are usually very highly empathetic, very giving, very highly interpersonal sensitive, but sometimes they're not commercial enough. Sometimes they're not charging,
Enough
what
money.
they need
Yep.
to, or
Yep.
haven't changed their prices, or don't know how to market, or need help kind of putting it all together. So it's really rewarding when you can take someone's and help them with their goals, and so they can be able to deliver their gifts.
And I think self-confidence is a big thing too. Like I think a lot, I can't tell you how many practitioners I've talked to that are like, I need to get one more certification and then I'll launch
Yeah.
my business.
Yes.
Like, no,
Yeah.
you don't.
It's really interesting, and I'm writing a paper on this now. There are really two components, right? There's self-confidence, and then there's self-worth. And a lot of people put them together because they're extremely interrelated, but there is a slight difference. And that's why RTT is so helpful on the self-worth side. So the difference is self-confidence is what you do to be successful. So having confidence in your ability to do, that you have skills, you can perform. A lot of people have low self-worth and high self-confidence, and then they keep achieving or trying to get the next certification, or, it's kind of like, I call it the invisible finish line. It's like,
You
you
never make it.
right. It's like if I lose X more pounds, I'm going to be happy. Or if I reach the C level, I'll be happy. Or if I just work a little harder and get this promotion, I'll be happy. And the self-worth component is again this overgeneralization, but it tends to be like, I'm not good enough in some way. And you'd be amazed how many people that are extremely successful have this underlying feeling of either not knowing themselves, not like living this authentic life, or really having some confusion about their identity, which is making them hold back in a variety of ways. So it's kind of like helping people really understand themselves and get really comfortable being themselves. And then it's really amazing how that really helps grow. To grow self-confidence and self-worth, it's three things. It's building your emotional intelligence, it's self-care, and then it's that connection to your purpose. So if you can help someone with those three things, and I have a variety of tools to help in all three of those areas, that's when people really come into their own. And again, like I said, usually someone has started thinking about this, which is why they hire a coach anyway. So it's kind of like just helping them break through in that transformation. And I have the tools to help people do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting. Like I think a lot of people probably think that self-worth and self-confidence are the same thing. And they're
Mhm.
really not. I know a lot of
Really
people that
not.
are right that are very confident, but I think but possibly might have a self-worth thing because they're still, like you said, trying to get another certification, trying to constantly proving that they're, educated or knowledgeable or intelligent or whatever it is. Like there's that constant need to continue to prove that to whoever. But
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
then you'll find that some people have just grown out of the career that they did for the first 25 or 30 years, and they're ready for a change. And it's so, I have a very specific career transition program for people in 2025 because life has changed. The career transition world is very different. Basically, I help people put their go-to market package together, which is their resume, their LinkedIn profile, their networking talk track, and their cover letter, and their search strategy. And their search strategy is really a combination of LinkedIn, networking, And that has a combination of recruiters as well as people people will reach out to. And then the third column is really a very surgical way of putting target lists of companies or organizations that you could be a candidate for. And what I'm saying to people is LinkedIn is there and it has a lot of information, but it's really a less than 3% response rate.
Wow, that's crazy.
And it is extremely low right now. So a lot of people just keep posting for jobs and they call me and say something must be wrong with my resume because I'm not getting any calls back. And sometimes there is something wrong. Really, LinkedIn is almost even more important than your resume because recruiters are just really going to look at LinkedIn first.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna keep talking to
maximizing.
this. We gotta take a quick break. You're listening to the Dr. Diane Show. When we come back, we'll be talking more with Christine Bilotti-Peterson. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're back on the Dr. Diane Show with me, Dr. Diane Hayden. Please like and follow my channel, Dr. Diane Hayden, and you can learn more about me at www.drdianehayden.com. And I'm talking today with Christine Bilotti-Peterson. You can learn more about her at her website, www.longviewvitality.com. So before we finish today, I know that Christine, you have a bunch of really cool things that you do. We're going to talk about in a minute in terms of what you're doing with yoga and wellness retreats. But I want to make sure you mentioned earlier something about a wellness reset program. And I think we just kind of briefly touched on that. So I want to make sure we have time to have you tell our listeners a little bit about what that is.
Yeah, so well, basically it's either a 90-day or a 6-month program. And I use 4 specific things to help people really thrive in their healthcare journey and really learn how to take care of themselves. This is elite self-care. And the first thing, as I mentioned before, I do believe that health and vitality starts in the mind. So we're definitely going to be doing some RTT. I'm going to be teaching them about how to meditate, how to relax, and really get them in the mindset of wanting to take care of themselves, right? And so if self-sabotage is there, RTT is fantastic for self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is basically subconsciously, right? When somebody says, oh, I'm not going to be successful anyway, so I might as well not even do it,
Yep.
right? Like they say, the
Yep.
ultimate self-care is holding on to the commitments and moving through with the commitments you have made to yourself. So if you say, I'm going to get up and work out tomorrow morning, and you don't, you just continue that cycle of self-sabotage. So we want to change the mindset on that because the mind goes back to what it's always done. So if we want to make an adjustment, we have to make it in the subconscious. So anyway, so we do mindset coaching. We create a personalized self-care protocol with a schedule for the week. We that protocol is really about the kind of diet, and we talk about what your metabolic type is. I have some assessments that people can do to learn how to eat for themselves. A lot of programs out there have, oh, just go online and come up with your macros, and then we'll tell you how to eat. Well, that's usually for like a 225-pound male.
Right.
You're like, this is, if
Yep.
you're a woman in the 35 to 55 category, you might have to do things differently because of what's going on with your body, et cetera. So we really get down to what is your personalized protocol here. And then I do offer a natural GLP-1 supplement, which is basically a cellular activator to help you make your own GLP-1. It's not a needle, it's just pills and powder. And it really just relaxes people's food anxiety, where they have all of the positive effects of some of the chemical Ozempics of the world.
Mhm.
But it just really relaxes you. It helps you sleep better. And it's really generating your cells to activate its own GLP-1, which is reducing your hunger and interest. And so I'm on it, my daughter's on it, my friends are on it, and we're all really enjoying the process because it's very peaceful when there is no food anxiety in your head.
I love the fact that you have included this because I think it's so different. Like, this is what really makes you stand apart in terms of what you do with your coaching. Because I don't think most people don't think about what an impact food really has on the rest of your life. And you're bringing that component in and you're actually teaching people, like, look, you're trying to accomplish some big goal. You're a high performer. You do everything at 100%. But if your diet isn't great, I mean, everything that you try to do, you've got to be dealing with hormones that might be fluctuating wildly. Or if your metabolism's all over the place, you've got, glucose and insulin being released at inappropriate times, and
Right?
you might have fight or flight response and all that kind of stuff that we don't think about. Like, if we skip a meal or whatever, how does that affect how we perform the rest of the day? Or
Mm-hmm.
if we eat too much or whatever it might be, or not the right things, and how certain foods really can affect not only your mood, but how your metabolism reacts, all this stuff. So that's brilliant that you incorporate that, because I think that's like a missing piece that I've never heard of another coach doing that.
And really just the accountability, as we create the self-care protocol, then people are really dialed in to what they're eating, they're moving their body, and they're doing stress relief. And then these supplements that can help them if they need it. And those things, plus talking with me and working on some of these like tips on how to manage time. And of course, we're looking at other parts of their world. And when I do an RTT session for someone, I create a customized meditation for them to listen to every night for 28 days. And this is where things really change because their mindset shifts with all of these things working together in such a beautiful way. And yeah, it's been extremely effective.
Yeah, that is awesome. I love it. So you also do some yoga experiences and wellness retreats. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so for 25 years, I did leadership and strategy retreats with executives. And so I've taken that experience and I'm just now using it with my yoga and wellness. So sometimes I do team retreats with companies or organizations or groups, and other times I am hosting, retreats. I'm doing a couple of yoga pop-up events. And what I've been doing is combining rapid transformation therapy and yoga. So it's really a 90-minute like healing and relaxation session where I'm literally teaching people how to relax. And we're using meditation, we're using some tapping, and we're using some mindset coaching. Because, like they say, the whole science of like why do people feel so good after they leave a yoga class? Okay. There's a whole science around that, which is called interoception. And that's when your brain and mind is connected to your breathing and connected to your body. So with a 90-minute session of interoception where you're really connecting, because I'm kind of like facilitating and guiding you through guided visualization and using all of these somatic techniques to relax your nervous system. It's just a fantastic way of, how to be really proactive about your health and just release that both physical and mental energy that you might be carrying around. So that's why I love yoga, because it's like a twofer, right? It's exercise, but it's also stress relief. And it literally reduces your biological age. It is a very powerful tool.
Yeah, that's really amazing. So are these retreats and experiences local? Like, how can people find out more about that?
Yes, right now I'm doing them in Connecticut, but I also have one coming up in North Carolina in a couple of months. Also doing them in Vermont. So it's been fun to be invited places and then host in different locations. And I'm also going to be offering them virtually because they are very effective. In a virtual setting, RTT can be done on Zoom. And the other thing is I'd love to partner with other healing practices. So like in April, I'm doing one in Glastonbury with a crystal bowl healer and a holistic Akashic meditation. So it's fantastic. Eclipse in Glastonbury on April 9th. And then on May 9th, I'm hosting in Simsbury. We're doing like a Mother's Day event, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's really cool. So people can go to your website to learn more about all the
Mhm.
events that you're
Yes,
doing. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
So www.longviewvitality.com, where people can keep track of where you are and all that good stuff. And yeah, like keep us posted if you're gonna be going somewhere really amazing. I mean, I'm assuming people can anyone join some of these ones that you have non-locally, or are they private based on where you're going?
There are tickets being sold now to the events, so you just have to buy a pre-ticket pass to come. And then the virtual sessions will be separate events I'll be setting up. So those will be coming online in April.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. That's really great that it can be done virtually. I mean, well, I know so many yoga studios that kind of took everything virtual after COVID and
Right.
never went back. Like a lot of people are just doing their classes virtually now, and you can find a yoga class anywhere. So it's Zoom is amazing, that's for sure.
And it's nice if somebody's working from home, they could just jump on a class and they don't have to leave their house. It's more efficient with their time. Or I'm going to be doing some like Monday motivation ones in the morning and things like that. So um,
Awesome.
it'll be a couple of different options. It
Well, that's great. And I want to thank you so much for your time today. This has been
was
really
such a
interesting.
pleasure.
Yeah,
Thanks for
yeah.
inviting me, Diane.
Of course, well, of course, loved having you. And I want to thank all of you for tuning into the show. Please join me the first and third Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, where I have experts from around the country teaching you cutting edge therapies on longevity medicine, mindset, and soul purpose. Please like and subscribe to my channel, Dr. Diane Hayden. Hope everybody has a great week.